Hey guys, and welcome back to the horror realm. Yes, I know it's been a while, and I'm sorry for that. But I thought to get back into it, we're going to do something pretty cool on Valentine's Day. I actually really enjoy Valentine's Day. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's just a cash grab holiday. And for the most part, it is. But in my opinion, it gave us one of the coolest horror flicks around, which is My Bloody Valentine from 1981, shot in Canada. Believe it or not, there's a really good film industry in Canada, and a lot of low budget and independent filmmakers make their films in Canada. Now, this wasn't one of those. This is a full length feature film. I think it made, it made about 6 million, which is pretty good domestically and worldwide. So I guess it was only released here in the United States and Canada by Paramount. I think the budget was 3.2 million. So they almost doubled their budget, but for some reason Paramount considered that a loss because I think the year before Friday the 13th came out and it made a little bit more. But still, it was a great, great movie. If you haven't seen the original 1981, my cat's in the background doing stuff and things. I'm sorry. If you haven't seen the original, you really need to because it's really good acting. It's wrote well, it's shot well, and it's paced really well. So it's pretty cool that it actually doubled its money pretty much, and they still never really made a sequel to it. And it's kind of interesting to find out that the way the film was actually, they got money for it was somehow, I guess, the way it worked is that Canadians actually paid for the film somehow or some way, and they took that money and backed the film. And there was a lot of people in Canada that weren't very happy about that. I think that's kind of cool. There's worse ways to spend your money that you give to the government, but they were very displeased about that, even though it was a really good film. And it actually was had 8, 9, 10, 11 minutes of it cut out because it was going to be an NC-17 rating. They had to try really hard to get it down to an R rating, and they struggled with that. A lot of things were cut out. It wasn't until 2009 when Lionsgate did the remake with the guy from Supernatural that they actually released a separate DVD with all that material in there. And that did well. I think it made, let's see, the powers that be here. My Bloody Valentine, the remake in 2009 with Jason Heckles made, I think the budget was like 15 million or something, and it made 100 million. It did really, really well. And still today it's a cult following, and it's one of my top, maybe not top 10, but definitely top 15 horror movies. And it's probably my favorite 3D because they also released in 2009, they released a theatrical regular version, and they released a theatrical 3D version, and it was freaking awesome. I've seen a lot of horror movies in 3D, and then you've got Jurassic Park, which is up there as well, but My Bloody Valentine, really, they did really animated 3D. I guess I can work to explain it because it really reached out there. When the guy throws the axe and when the guys are running and chasing and the boobs are great, flopping your face from 50 feet away, come on. And the axe is flopping at your head, flying at your head, and you're literally in your seat, you're bobbing and weaving. So that was really cool in 2009. And still to date, I've seen a lot of other 3D movies, horror and not horror, and it's still my number one for sure as far as 3D movies are concerned. And it's probably going to be up there for a while because 3D is really disappointing. Even Avatar and stuff like that, it just doesn't pop the way I always thought it was intended to be. But for somehow, some way, with that small budget, $15 million is a low budget film. Anything under 50 anymore is considered a low budget film. But I think they made, like I said, that was the original thing. They made 100 million plus, I think, worldwide. Total, I'm not sure. Box office, 15 million. And they grossed 51 million USA. And cumulative was over 100 million. So that's great for a horror film. So I never really knew why they didn't make a sequel. And writer Todd Foreman, who did the 2009 version, was actually pushing for years and years to do a sequel to the film. Every year he'd get with Lionsgate, like, hey guys, we're going to do it. And it always seemed right until they're going to pull the trigger on it that they were always for it. But Lionsgate, as we know them for horror films, right? The Saw series and all kinds of others. But they went through a period where they wanted to do romances and comedies and stuff, and it was an epic fail on their part. So now they've got back to doing their bread and butter, which is horror and suspense. So that's cool. So at least Blumhouse has some competition. That, and Sony's getting back into it with Slender Man. I like Slender Man, and a whole bunch of other mid to low budget films. Remember, low budget, under 50 million. But they kept saying they're going to do it. And Todd always kept with it, but they never did, because at the time they just weren't interested, and they were trying to get out of it. So it'd be kind of interesting to see. I think about 11 months ago, Blade Disgusting did an article about how they kept pushing for years and it never happened. And his treatment for it's actually really good. There's an article on Blade Disgusting if you just go look up Blade Disgusting and you check out My Bloody Valentine 2. You can read what Todd Former was actually going to do and how he was continue the storyline. Because obviously when the mom blows up in My Bloody Valentine, the remake 2009, leaves it wide open for a definite remake to happen, and it was so successful it should have. Will we ever get it? Yeah, I really hope we do, because it's a really good film, and I love the remake. And I really enjoy the 1981 version. It seems like they put their heart and soul in, because a lot of films lose their luster and they're dated. Yeah, it is dated for the time, obviously. It's very old. Not very old, I'm dating myself, almost that old. But in film, things, Panavision cameras, and we went so far, in such a short amount of time, retrospectively. But it's kind of dated, but it's definitely worth watching if you haven't, just to see where the roots and ideas came from. It's a well-made film. It's a well-acted film. And it's still, it may be right around fresh rated on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's close. It's above 50%. I do know that last time I checked. As well it should be. I think the whole series is great. I think the if you're going to see it, the 2009, if you can catch it in theaters maybe this weekend or somewhere around you, it's definitely worth. If you got a 3D TV, that's one of the ones I would definitely get. So it's really sad that Todd, couldn't get the second one, but it maybe, fingers crossed, it may in the future happen, and that'd be great. So My Bloody Valentine, I hope that you have a Valentine. If not, it's fine. Go out, have you a good meal, drink you something, go watch these movies. It's a great day to watch these movies, especially even not just today, but the whole month would be a great time to watch My Bloody Valentine 1981, My Bloody Valentine original, remake in 2009, and then if you have a 3D TV, you can't find it in theaters, go watch the 3D version because it is epic. So guys, I wanted to bring you this cool video about this and what I think about it. It's definitely one of my top 10. Probably, I'd have to sit down and really think about it. Definitely top 15 horror films of all time. It's really underrated, but it does have a cult following. We're still pushing for the second one. We'll see if we get it. Who knows? Maybe Todd can finally push the Lionsgate, or maybe the dreaded Blumhouse, the taker of all properties in horror right now, will take it, or even Sony. I'm not a big fan of Blumhouse. He's did a lot of good things, but you never want to have a company having a monopoly in any area. So maybe Sony gets it, because I like the way Slender Man. It wasn't great, but that's the last film I saw in Sony's production and horror value, and it wasn't bad either. So maybe a film company in Canada picks it up. Maybe someone up there decides to bring it home back to Canada, or maybe Paramount even picks it up. Who knows? Or maybe collaboration with some of those studios, and we find a good distributor for the movie. So comment down below and let me know what you think about having a sequel to the 2009 Bloody Valentine, and would you like to see that? I'd like to see it in both, but let me know what you think. Do you want it to be 2025 Bloody Valentine 2 in 3D coming to a theater near you? Let me know, guys. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, guys, stay creepy.